Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to do a very quick video about paper sizes. I often get questions about the notebooks that I use and what size they are. And so what I thought I would do is I'd run through a couple of the standard paper sizes. Not going to the extremes, not going to the unique shapes like the traveler's notebook or passport and all those kinds of things, just your everyday basics. So like A6, B6, which you can see is a little bit bigger there, A5, which is bigger again, B5, bigger again, and of course A4. Now, yes, occasionally there are notebooks that fall into these size categories that are slightly different. Something that comes to mind is something like the Greenwood notebook, which is technically an A5 notebook. Technically, from most sort of size perspectives, you can see it kind of like height-wise, it's basically the same, but it is considerably narrower. So I call this Slim A5, and there are a range of brands such as Moleskine who use this kind of size. There are a couple of notebooks that I'm going to be showing today that are slightly outside of the standard sizes, but you get the idea. Then, of course, there are a few companies like Midori, for instance, who just sort of kind of do their own thing. Now, these Midori notebooks are in the F category. So you've got F0 and F2. Now, they are not sizes that Midori have made up. They follow canvas sizes, particularly for sort of like the French oil painting canvas kind of size. So F0 and F2 are standard sizes that you can get those in, and Midori have decided to adapt or adopt those for the notebooks that they use, particularly these cotton notebooks, which I think are absolutely stunning. They also have A5 and A4 and things like that as well. So my plan for the rest of this video is just to show some basic sizes, show you the measurements of those, and a couple of sort of options in them. Now I'm going to start at the biggest, which is the A4. Now I don't use a lot of A4 notebooks. There are a number of brands that make them. The Rhodia, A4 notebook, things like that. And of course, particularly in softer covers, there are a lot of A4 sort of, staple bound and stitch bound notebooks. This is a Fabriano notebook, which I really enjoy and use relatively sparingly for a particular project. But this is sort of standard A4. And I have a ruler here. This is a Monograph brand brass ruler. And so you can see that, of course, the notebook has slightly larger, exterior, measurements. But you can see that, I'm not sure what happened there with the light. Anyway, we'll plow on. You can see that measures roughly 297 across, long ways, and about 210 millimeters sort of across. So 210 by 297 for A4. Now A4, the A sizes, they halve. They all sort of halve. So a half of A4 is A5. So this measures at 210 long ways, given the fact that the width is the same. So 210 and 148 across. And then, of course, if we go to the A6, you can see it's half of that size sort of again. This is a slim A6, but it's roughly that kind of size. It's the only closest to A6 I could find at the moment. And that's 148 by 105 millimeters. A6 being a good sort of pocket size. I find A5 to be a really good sort of stock standard size for sort of journaling and things like that. A couple of examples I have on hand. One is my Archer and Olive bullet journal notebook, which was just a regular notebook. I'm using it for my bullet journal. It's a beautiful A5, 160 GSM paper. I really like the Archer and Olive notebooks. And then, of course, something like the Leuchtturm notebook is another sort of stock standard A5 sort of size. So lots and lots in that category. Lots, and as I said, the Slim A5 is very handy as well. I really like these Life notebooks. Japanese beautiful paper, smooth, but like very fountain pen friendly. A couple of different line rule options and things like that. Good A5. So that was A4, A5, and sort of like roughly A6. Now let's look at a couple of the B sizes. For me personally, I actually think B size notebooks are my preference. Now I've got a couple of options here. Now I wanted to show you so just like the A sizes, you know, A5, A4, A6, those things, the Bs come in this. So like, for instance, here is a B7 size notebook from Penco. Very, very cool. And that is but this is the B6, which is one of my favorite sizes. B6 and B5 I really enjoy. B6 measures at 176 millimeters by 125. So it's a very sort of good size. It fits nicely sort of in the hand. And what I like about it, what I quite like about the B sizes is that they fit easily within cases. So for instance, if I've got my iPad case, you know, bag thing, this fits nicely, not getting in the way of anything, sits nicely in it. This is a Galen leather everyday notebook. It's just the plain Tomo River paper, leather cover. Beautiful notebook. Another example of a B6 that I enjoy, once again, is Archer and Olive. You'll see Archer and Olive featured in this video a bit because I think they make wonderful, wonderful notebooks. So this is just ever so slightly smaller in some dimensions than the stock standard B6, but it fits nicely within that category. Once again, good size, fits nicely in the hand, fits nicely in bags and things like that. So that was 125 by 176 for the B6 size notebook. And then if we go to the B5, once again, I have a live stationery notebook. You can see that is sort of, once it fits nicely half and half, and this is how these sizes work. As the number gets smaller, they get double the size, or if the numbers get bigger, they go down a size. So B5 to B6, you know, to B7, that kind of setup. But let's look at B5 now. B5 is 176 millimeters by 250. Now, the reason I love this is because when you're using an A4 size case for like your laptop or something like that, this just fits so beautifully. It's also a good size, so you have lots of room to write on. You're not being sort of cramped into a smaller space, but it's not as big and as sort of like gormless as A4. And of course, A4 having particularly here in Australia, a very officey kind of feel. Most printer paper, legal pads, things like that, they're all in an A4 kind of size. So this has got something just a little bit unique about it, and it certainly feels different. A couple of other options I love in the B5 category is the Baron Fig Confidant. This is the large one, and it is just a beautiful notebook. They make lovely, once again, make lovely hardcover linen notebooks. Really interesting paper, and then of course, as I said, I feature a lot of Archer and Olive here. This is Archer and Olive B5. Once again, it's in a beautiful dock grid and a beautiful 160 GSM white paper. Lots of brands make a B5 and it's becoming kind of more popular. And the reason I enjoy B5, and I have actually, not in this particular book, but in a similar book, have bullet journaled in B5, simply because you get that little bit of extra space. If you look at the A5 bullet journal style notebook from Archer and Olive, you can clearly see you get an extra, decent amount of dot spaces in every direction on this page. And so if you are making to-do lists that you just find this size doesn't quite cut it for you, there are lots of options in this slightly bigger B5. Once again, as I said, lots of space to write. You don't feel like you're writing in a small notebook. And then the last one I want to show today is something that I think should, in my opinion, it covers the realm of something like what a Moleskine does, but better. Moleskine have books in this sort of similar size as well. As I said, they have a slim A5, and they have sort of their larger notebook in a similar size to this B5. And the softcover is a very, very popular book. Now, I work in a stationery shop. A couple of these have been bought in using my own money from that store, but we sell a lot of Moleskine. And a lot of people really come in like directly wanting moleskin, and I can understand that. I quite enjoy using moleskin for pencils, but as primarily a fountain pen user, I find that Leuchtturm notebooks to be just a little bit better. So a couple of the Leuchtturm options, as I showed you before, the Leuchtturm A5. This is actually a 120 GSM notebook, so it's a slightly heavier weight paper. You saw the A6, sorry, and here is the B5, and this is the soft cover. I think the paper, it comes in like ruled options as well. So you've got the dot, you've got straight lines, you've got sometimes you can get a grid. So you've got different options in this paper, and it's nice because it's, once again, it's a bigger size and it's more fountain pen friendly than moleskin. It's not perfect, but it is certainly better. So I hope you found this video interesting and useful. I hope it answered a couple of questions, particularly about sizes. Working out what works for you is really important. Finding notebooks that fit what you need in terms of the space and the layout and all those kinds of things makes a world of difference. As I said, I don't use a lot of A4. A4 is just a size that doesn't work for me in terms of carrying and things like that. So I use B5 and A5 primarily, although I do love a good B6 as well. It's a nice size. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, hit the notifications button. If you've got questions, drop them in the comments below. If there are certain videos you'd like me to have a look at making, get in touch. If there's a way you'd like to support the channel, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your notebooks, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.